Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here, and welcome to another video. This is Fish Room Vlog Part 9, and by the time you guys can watch this video, I'll have been on holidays for about 4 days, and I should be back in a couple. I should be back about midweek. And obviously before I went away, I went through my aquariums and checked it all out. So I thought I would share my routine with you guys for what I do when I go for about a week at least. I mean, I don't bother doing any of this sort of stuff for a weekend. If I was going away for a few days, even a long weekend, I would go through the fish room, make sure all the filters are running. I might do an extra water change, but in this particular case, I did 2 1/3 water changes, not back to back. They're about 3 or 4 days apart, and that is more than enough to get it cut up to what they need for while I'm away, and way more than I normally do. I usually do about that amount of water changes in a month, especially on tanks like this. These are both run by Underground filters. They both have the high humidity planters on them, and the aquariums are very stable. So this is just mostly precautionary, and one of the reasons why I like to go through this kind of routine when I leave, it makes me look at every aquarium. I don't always do that. I mean, there are tanks that are stable and fine. They'll have adult fish in them. I'll run by and feed them and look at them and see if they need anything kind of cursory like. But this, I'll actually go through, check the filters, make sure they're all bubbling appropriately, all that sort of stuff. And while I'm doing a water change like this, even though it only takes a few minutes, I will actually watch the aquarium, observe what's going on, and make any kind of appropriate changes. Now with underground filters like this, there's no other real maintenance. There's going to be a clip coming up. Every now and then there'll be a box filter that might need, might be a little questionable there, or it might be on the border of whether it should need to be cleaned or not, and I will actually clean them just to be on the safe side. I don't do that if it's not necessary, because there's no point in disturbing an aquarium if it doesn't need to be. That's kind of my rule of thumb. If it looks good, fish are happy and healthy and swimming, then I just leave them alone. Now, the other thing that came up in the comments in one of the other videos before I left is what I do for feeding while I'm away. Now, when I went on the Tokyo trip, I went with my kids, and because my wife has a bad back, she couldn't sit that long on a plane without being in excruciating pain. She didn't want to stay home. She had to stay because, like I said, it would not go well, and she would not have any fun. So I trust her, and she's been around the fish room long enough and around me long enough to be easily trusted to feed the fish. In the past, when I was a teenager and older, while I was still living at home, and then after I moved out with, I get friends to have a look at tanks while I'm away and have them feed, and almost always it ends in disaster. At least one aquarium will crash because most people overfeed their fish, and anyone who doesn't have any experience doing it, that is the most common cause for problems. And they say, oh, they look hungry, and they'll give them a little extra. Oh, they had missed yesterday, so I'll give them twice as much today. You know, that sort of routine, and that sort of stuff is what really causes problems for your fish tanks. Adult fish, like almost all these ones you see here, and even the larger juveniles, a week without food is absolutely nothing for them. And then in my particular case here, because I maintain a lot of live food, or shrimp and scuds in my aquariums, there is actually things for them to eat, also the plants and algae and all sorts of stuff, so they're not actually going without food. Now obviously I wouldn't on a regular basis just not bother feeding the fish, because I am trying to grow them out for clients, and also they just do much better being fed, and I'd have to spread them out an awful lot more than this to ensure that they all get food if I was trying to do a completely natural approach. So yes, I do feed lots, and especially the tank above on the left with the plecos, but like I said, for the short term like this, a week is nothing. They'll be fine, except some cases if you have really newborn fry. There's going to be a clip at the very end of this video showing some of the newest baby guppies. And in their case, I do have to make a few special treatments for them. Pretty much I take all the adults out. I'll add additional cultures of some of the stuff I'm growing, like free-floating algae, again more Gramaris, so scuds, and shrimp. And also because I have some Daphne now and some Cyclopses, I'll throw those in as well, and also put some more plants in. And all those things together, it should be more than enough for those little guys to make it through the week. And that actually kind of brings me back to something that a lot of people don't cover, and that is, what do you do when you get back? In the case of the little fry, I'll start feeding them a little bit of vinegar eels and a little bit of microworms, but I don't really hit the tank with too much food, or actually any of these tanks. You've been away for a week, they haven't been fed, and obviously they're pooping less, and your filters have adjusted to the newer, less load. And then if you start hitting them with too much food right away, first off, the fish won't be able to eat it, and it will end up rotting, which is always very bad. Or even if they manage to eat it, they'll end up shocking the system a little bit with extra excrement, and that can give you a bit of a spike. Because filters adjust to a consistency. Like if you have a certain load of fish, it is cycled for that number of fish, and if you start adding a lot more fish, or stop feeding, or feeding a lot more heavily, it takes a little bit of time for aquariums, and especially the filtration systems, to adjust. What I normally do when I get back is I'll feed sparingly, like a little bit extra, sparingly for each meal, but I'll feed extra meals. That's what I'm trying to say here. So I'll feed like in the morning and feed a little bit, and if I have the chance around noon, not very often can I do that, and then again in the evening I'll feed again. Normally for baby fish I do that, but I don't feed my adults twice a day, unless again I'm getting them ready to breed or something. And then after a couple of days back, I'm still feeding a little lightly. I will do a big water change, and then I'll gradually increase the amount of food they get and stuff until we're back to normal in about a week. It's just a good idea not to strain them out too much. And that brings me to this clip. This filter I cleaned actually a little while ago. Like I said, I'm doing a series on the effects of filter cleaning on aquariums, and I thought I'd put this in here just to talk a bit about the types of filters that actually require regular cleaning. Like this is a box filter, canister filters, even sumps and that sort of stuff. Anything that has a filter mat like this that requires cleaning. Before you go away on a holiday, that one's probably not dirty enough to clean, and I probably would have left it if I wasn't doing the video. But every time you clean, you do something. Now, I froze it here for a second to show you. This is the internal box with the rings in it, and you can see there's dirt around there, but it's not dirty enough to be cleaned. And I'm going to go through a little later on, like I said, when this video actually comes up, I'm going to go through cleaning techniques, and I did buy some test kits, and I'm going to show you how those numbers change depending upon the process. In this particular case, I'm just rinsing out the filter mat in a tub of tank water, and that's what I would do if I was going away. I would not clean the actual biomedia. I would leave that until time when I'm actually around, and we'll see if that actually matters, because like I said, a lot of stuff I do, I mean, I've cleaned an awful lot of aquariums and an awful lot of filters, but most of what I do is what you would call anecdotal. It's not in the sense of every time I clean every aquarium, I test all the parameters and get numbers. First off, it's not practical or even possible. But the other reason I don't do it is there are a great many things in these systems that you simply can't test for. And they do show up affecting the fish and behavior and that sort of stuff. And it is better to get a bit more of a feel for what's going on in the aquarium instead of relying on, well, my nitrates are 0, so everything should be good. Anyway, I'm going to get to that in that video coming up, and I'll cover all that stuff in more detail, so we'll save it for then. So if you like this style of video, please like and or subscribe as you feel, and I'm going to pull that adult male out of there, and hopefully these babies will do fine. Actually, I'm not too worried, because there is an awful lot of stuff in here for them to chew on, and the rest of the tank should be good as well. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.